I'm really excited today to present to you a new way to do things for our benchmark sessions, and they're called next practice sessions. In these next practice, oh, 3, 2, 1. I'm super excited to present to you today a new way to do benchmark sessions, and they're called next practice sessions. In these sessions, you're going to talk about the way things ought to be, the way you envision the future. And instead of just showing your best practices, and you can show those best practices, you're going to come with showing what you envision, what you can create. And as a whole, collectively, we will create those best and next practices together and have a document of the way we things ought to be. And the first way to do that, and the first time we're going to do that, is with Sandy Allred. We've co-created this new way of doing things. In this session, we're going to do on how to have successful development conversations in the way that you believe things should be. Your beliefs, your innovations, your creativity. I always say that innovation is 1% and 99% is the rest, the work, the preparation. And that's what really is important about this. We do that 1% with you, which is the creation of this next practice, so that you can show that you have gravitas and peer validation behind it. Peer validation is so important to this process, and peer validation is something you're going to get really through this process. In the next slide, we're going to really show you what this process is all about. And in the next practice sessions, we're going to have very specific objectives. As I had mentioned before, it's the way you believe things ought to be and how you envision them so they become a reality. And you're sharing that one thing in group from your company, from you in representation of your company, and you as a representative of the field itself, as an innovator in your field. And as such, later, you'll come on to show as a group what this new co-created change is that you envision for the field and for your company itself. So in the next slide, I'm going to show you what happens during these sessions. So first, we do round robin discussion points. So it's what we should set up for team leaders to have these successful developmental conversations. So you'll answer that yourself. Just come as you are and answer in round robin. And these conversations should include the following direction and guidance. One thing I'd do differently to ensure the right conversations are being had is, and then my definition of a successful development conversation is. So these are prompts. These are prompts, and let's go to the next one. See what else we're going to do. Part of this. Here's the agenda. It's very strict, so we need to stick to our knitting with this agenda. So it's detailed. Come around, and we're going to answer the discussion prompts individually in round robin, and you go one at a time. 10 or 11, 12 of you, and 3 to 4 minutes each. Running at about 45 minutes or so there. And moving on to breakout groups. We're breaking groups out on Zoom in 3 to 4. You'll take 10 minutes to create one shared statement of the way things ought to be around development conversations. And then come back to the main room and create a shared statement to each of those prompts as a full group. And that'll take about 20 minutes to do. We're going to create that shared document that we all believe needs to happen, ought to happen in our companies, in our fields, for ourselves. Think about that. You're really envisioning the future. And final thoughts about what we've created and what we all agree to be and how we can apply it will take place. I'm really excited about this opportunity to create this next practice with you. It's historic in the way that we develop here at Best Practice Institute the best and next practices in the field of talent management. We'll see you on the next session, specifically on the way things ought to be in next practices in developmental conversations.